fact, I've been collecting little pencils like this. I've seen alligators on jars. I've seen alligator ashtrays, and I've seen them depicted with kids in it. And I was wondering why the children would be there. As a matter of fact, this particular pencil sharpener, this is a pencil sharpener or a pencil holder with a black head of a baby sitting out of its mouth. Meanwhile, he came out and came back out and he began to talk to me. He said, he said, you probably don't know this. He said, but years ago, he said, my grandfather, before he died, told me of the things they would do. He said he would go down. He said his grandfather said they would go down and they would take babies with them. I said, what do you mean babies? He says, well, let me tell you. He said the slaves who had babies, they would steal the babies during the course of the day, sometimes when the mothers weren't washing. I said, what do you mean babies? I said, you mean babies like 5 or 6 years old? He says, no. These babies, some would be infants, some would be a year old. He said some would be toddlers. He said they would grab these children and take them down to the swamp and leave them in pens like little chicken coops. They would go down there at night, take these babies and tie them up because they hunted the big bull alligators. These big bull alligators were not raised on farms. They were in the wild. These alligators would weigh 600, 700, 800 pounds. Those are the ones they wanted. They would skin them, make the wallets, get the meat, do different things with them. He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said, the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. He said, I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait. I said, so all these things I've been collecting, are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they're of a truth? By what you say, he said, I'm telling you, he said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, the men that taught us the truth, this 100% truth, the true way of worshiping Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, whose name is Yahweh Shai. I want to say peace and salutation to your hopeful elect that believe sincerely in the truth. Shalom. It's your brother Thamayim, coming from the GMS Memphis camp, coming back at you once again with another lesson. And I hope this lesson be edifying to you hopeful elect. Let's get to it. I ain't gonna lie, man. Looking at this video, looking at the clips, doing the research, the history of how our people was done, how the so-called white man did to the so-called Negroes, it just piss you off. Piss you the fuck off. And excuse my French, But it just boil up, that anger inside you. Get your spirit all fired up. And it's like, you Israelites forget how this man used to do to you, like to your ancestors, your forefathers. You quick to save the so-called white man. You quick to vote for him. You try to save a seat for him in the kingdom of heaven. You want him to be saved. You want him to rule over you. But look how he done to your people, though. And look what he's still doing to you. It's crazy though. But let's get into this article that I got right here from what they call Snopes, I guess. But the title of this article is Black Babies Were Used as Alligator Bait in the American South. Question. So it really ain't a question. This really happened. The so-called white man used babies, baby that was toddlers, baby that was newborn babies, infants, and fed it to alligators. All because they didn't want to lose their life. We finna get into it. Let's get into it. It said alligator bait is the term derives from an activity conducted by the white man, the so-called white man, because it ain't shit white about that nation. These people. That word white man, white race was invented. Look it up. I think around 1600s, 1681. Just look it up. It said mostly in the swamps of Louisiana and Florida throughout the South. These so-called white people were sick beyond belief. These alligator hunters needed to lure the large bull alligators with human flesh and blood. During the slave era, our ancestors in America were only considered 3/5 of a human being, which is why these sick hunters had no regard for human life. The alligator hunter kidnapped black infants, skinned them alive, and tied their necks to a string and dropped them into a swamp, dangling them near the mouth of a hungry 700-pound alligators. These black babies were stolen, caged, and fed to alligator whole. The activity is retold in various forms in research documents, many found in Jim Crow Museum of Races. This shit right here, man, like, hey, you can't tell me that this don't even get up under your skin. Like, it don't have you fired up in the spirit. You just look back in a time of slavery, you know, a white man, so-called white man, stealing a mother's baby while she ain't looking, ain't paying attention, or the mother just gave birth to a newborn. Next thing you know, she looking for her newborn. And here it is, they using her newborn baby as bait just to catch an alligator. And still to this day, they still doing shit like this. You know, they got this detention center called Alligator Alcatraz. Matter of fact, let me get that. I think it's right here.
Right cruelty of the past or the policy decisions of today. The underlying theme is to dehumanize. Do you recognize the pattern? When we diminish a group of people, when we reduce them to a problem to be contained, rather than individuals with rights and stories, we risk repeating the darkest pattern of our history. Learn from history.
See, once a devil is always a devil. This man ain't changed. This nigga was accustomed to do evil, the so-called white man. That's why the scriptures speak about never trust thy enemy. Can a leopard change his spot? This man cannot do good. This nigga don't give two fucks about you Israelites. You so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanic. He don't give a damn about you. So you saying that the white man changed, he not the same, this white race, they not those people that whipped our ancestors with whips, fed our babies to alligators, use our people as alligator skin and all that. Cause you even got that. You had white people using you Negroes as alligator skin, to wear as shoes, belts, all types of things. But going back to this alligator, alcatraz, hey, he doing the same thing that he did back in the slavery times. Towards you northern kingdom. And I want to read this that I had got from off TikTok. Don't know if it's true, but hey, it fit this devil. I won't be surprised that this is actually going on over there in, I think, South Florida, but they say they closed it down or whatever in that concentration camp. But I want to read this. It said in 2025, Florida built a migrant prison in the Everglades called Alligator Alcatraz. Up to 5,000 people detained, many without charges. They hold them in a swamp cages. An official report says food including worms in sewage water. Over 800,000 records have been sealed until 2071. God dang. It said it was built illegal on a land inside Big Cypress National Preserve. Environments and civil rights groups have filed lawsuit. Florida State filed are mostly sealed until 2071. Man, look at that. One man starved himself for 9 days in the protest. People were forced to stand in direct sun for hours with no water for arguing. Hundreds were deported without access to hearing were the pressure to sign order. Journalists and lawyers have been detained. Contact. Toilets don't flush. Flooding cells with waste. Food arrives spoiled or with worms. No showers or medicine. Mosquitoes, frogs, and insects everywhere in the heat. Some detainees have not seen a lawyer. I wouldn't be surprised if all this actually happened, actually going on. But they say they closed it down, That's what they say. But look at this devil. Still back to his old ways. Old ways, old tricks. So this is why this man is not going to receive no fucking mercy. No mercy. Let's get that. Let's get to the scriptures, man, because this stuff will make you just, it make you hot. This is James chapter 2, verse 13. For he shall have judgment without mercy. Who is that he? Hey, that's Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the so-called white race, the Edomites. They will have judgment without mercy. They have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoicing against judgment. This man have never showed you Israelite mercy. So therefore, he's not going to get no mercy. He's going to feel every judgment, hey, that the Lord has in store for him. Because we drunk of that cup of slavery. This man gonna drink of that cup of slavery. He's not gonna go unpunished. This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked should not be unpunished. So the wicked, Esau, Edom, they would not go unpunished. It don't matter how many stimulus check that this man try to give to you Israelites. It don't matter if this man try to make things right, really it ain't nothing they can do, give us to make it right. I don't give a fuck if you do what's to give each Israelite family millions of dollars. You ain't gonna make things right, bro. All the blood that you have spilled on this land, the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, the so-called Negroes, and what you still doing, you still spilling blood. It's nothing you can do, So you're not gonna go unpunished. And this is according to what the Lord said, because this is Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Thus said the Lord Yahweh by Shemir Bashai, for 3 transgression of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So the Lord is not for to turn away the punishment. You're not going unpunished. You're going to answer for all the wickedness, all the hindrance acts you have done to the nation of Israel. It says, because he did pursue his brother with the sword. From you so-called Negro on down to you so-called Mexican, he pursued you with the sword. And he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. This man have this anger towards you, this perpetual hatred, this everlasting hatred. And he's showing you how he feel about you, the way he think about you, the way he look at you. Now, he don't even look at you as a human being, just cattle. So he kept that wrath all the way up to this particular moment. So you feel like he should go unpunished? Come on, man. Shit, no. He gonna get it. He gonna get, he gonna get what's coming. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Lord to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. So this is a righteous thing with the Lord, with the Heavenly Father and his Son. They cool with it. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. It is a righteous thing to them to recompense. Let me get this word recompense, because it's something that they don't even teach you in church. They look at it as it's something bad. This is recompense, the meaning. This is what does recompense means in the biblical AI overview. Biblically, recompense means to repay, compensate, or reward someone based on their actions, effort, or suffering. So, since it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you, so we're going to repay them. We're going to do to Esau according to the Lord's anger, because the Lord going to get his lick back too. Matter of fact, let me end it off with that. Do to Edom according to my anger. I think that's in Ezekiel. Yeah, Ezekiel 25:14. This is Ezekiel 25, verse 14. It said, matter of fact, let's start at 12. Thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Abishai, because that Edom has dealt against the house of Judah, the so-called Negroes, by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Abishai, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man, beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. This is the main point right here. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. You so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, Hispanic, the Lord's people, he's going to lay hands on Edom by his people. Starting with the elect. And they shall do in Edom according to my anger, according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, said the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Abishai. So the Lord is with it. He down with it. He cool with it. And this is a righteous thing with the Lord. Let's go back to that. The 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6, saying it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Shalom.